Alleged murder victim, 7-month-old baby Emmanuel Haro, was found yesterday until he wasn't. Let's discuss.
Right now in 11 new developments in a case of baby Emmanuel, his father, seen in a prisoner jumpsuit today, helping detectives search through a field in Riverside County as both parents remain in custody on suspicion of murder.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Monday morning, the 25th of August. So, overnight, my time, because I'm 8 hours ahead of California, a whole bunch of stuff was released about baby Emmanuel Haro being found. SF Investigates, the PI, 7 hours ago, as I record this, released this information. San Bernardino Search and Rescue has located Emmanuel Haro's body. Emmanuel has been found. Not confirmed by police, but it wasn't just SF that was tweeting things out. There was a bunch of photos with Jake Haro with a whole parade of cop cars in a field off the side of a highway, and they don't do that for no reason. They don't take someone out of custody for no reason. Well, let's backtrack a little for those who are not entirely familiar with everything that's gone down here. So last Thursday, the 14th of August, Rebecca Haro, Emmanuel's mother, reported that baby Emmanuel had been kidnapped. She alleged that she was in the parking lot of the Big Five sporting goods store where she was going to buy a mouthguard for her stepson. She parked up, realised that baby Emmanuel needed a diaper change. So she got him out of his car seat, laid him on the seat of the truck, and proceeded to change his diaper. However, someone came up behind her, said hola, and then that's the last she remembers. She was knocked out cold. She was punched in the eye. She had a black eye to prove it. Except that black eye absolutely was not fresh. But baby Emmanuel was gone. So the search was on for this kidnapped little baby. When the parents, Rebecca and Jake Haro, spoke out the day after to the news, it was obvious. It was obvious to everybody, I'm sure, that they just didn't look or sound believable. You know, the little, like, weird breathing, like, trying to sound like you're crying, except you're not. That kind of thing. Look, come on now. It was obvious. You didn't have to be the behaviour panel or any body language expert to know that there was something wrong with this couple. Cops then said that there was inconsistencies in her story. And a couple of days ago, we get the arrest of Jake Haro and Rebecca Haro for baby Emmanuel's murder. Now, there's a lot of rumours going around that baby Emmanuel hasn't been seen by anyone for at least a month. Don't know whether any of that is true. We don't know when baby Emmanuel was last seen alive by anybody other than his immediate family, because I don't trust grandma either. I don't trust Rebecca's mother either. And look, Jake has got a past history of beating his then 10-week-old daughter into oblivion. Although she survived with lifelong, as serious injuries as it gets. She's blind, she can't walk, she can't talk, she can't eat, she can't swallow properly. She's got 3% of brain function, and she's now 7. All Jake Haro received was 180 days in jail. Except he didn't even serve more than a day in jail because he was allowed to serve his sentence on day release, which is crazy. That should have been attempted murder, but him and his ex-wife had pled guilty to child cruelty. So maybe, I don't know whether a deal was done. If they pled guilty, they wouldn't get charged with attempted murder. I don't know. I don't know what on earth the judge was thinking. Jake Haro should not be on the streets. He should not have been allowed to have at least 2 more children. Baby Emmanuel at 7 months, and then there's a 2-year-old girl. I think there's another kid as well. I don't know how many kids they've got between them. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. So they were arrested for murder, but baby Emmanuel's body hadn't been found. So then we get to kind of late afternoon, early evening in California. And we start getting these pictures from people on the ground. There's a lot of TikTokers, there's some YouTubers out there, there's a lot of locals who are heavily invested in this story now, obviously, because this little precious baby has had something horrible, really horrible, happen to him. We all want to know why. His body needs to be found sooner rather than later, because the longer it's left, the more decomposition there is, and it becomes harder and harder to find an accurate cause of death. So when SF released that baby Emmanuel's body has been found, however sad it is that yes, it's confirmed he's deceased, at least it means that the autopsy will hopefully reveal something regarding Emmanuel's cause of death. His body hopefully will tell the story of the horrors that had happened to him while he was alive. However, I went to sleep for an hour. I woke up to this from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office. This afternoon's search for Emmanuel Haro was conducted along the westbound shoulder of the 60 freeway near Gilman Springs Road in Moreno Valley. Investigators were assisted by cadaver dogs. Jake Haro was at the location with detectives. The searchers concluded and Emmanuel was not located. The investigation to find Emmanuel continues. Right, so let's take a look at this news piece here. This is from 11 p.m. California time. So this is after the search wraps up for the day.
Search teams and investigators as well as cadaver dogs to the scene there. There's been a widely publicized...
This is where the home is, in Cabazon. This is where baby Emmanuel was reported kidnapped on August 14th. And then this is the location where they were searching, where they took Jake Haro to. Quick run down the highway here. So it kind of makes sense. You know, they take him far enough away that they think he's never going to be found.
Search across the Inland Empire since Emmanuel's parents claimed the 7-month-old was kidnapped in Yucaipa on August 14th.
From there, detectives say their story fell apart, arresting the parents at their home in Cabazon on Friday.
And then today, search and rescue crews were seen looking for the remains of the missing infant.
NBC4's Tracy Leon live in San Bernardino County with an update on the search. Tracy?
Yeah, Kathy and Jonathan, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department led the search and rescue operation earlier today in Moreno Valley. They were not able to locate Emmanuel Haro, and at this point, they do not believe he is alive, and they say their search and their investigation will continue until they find the baby's remains. Search and rescue teams spent hours combing through rugged terrain along the 60 westbound freeway near Gilman Springs Road in Moreno Valley Sunday afternoon, looking for 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. The baby's father, Jake Haro, was also at the location with detectives.
In my experience, when somebody is being let out and being escorted to a particular area to look for a body who has been unaccounted for and they believe is a victim of a murder, that tells me that the person is sharing enough information.
Private investigator Moses Castillo investigated crimes against children during his more than 30-year career with the LAPD.
If it's true that the body was dumped somewhere in the field, by now with the hot weather and the length of time, the body is decomposing and it's going to be in very bad condition. But they could still do an autopsy and try to determine the manner and cause of death. If there's some abusive head trauma, they'll be able to see that.
Emmanuel's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, were arrested Friday on suspicion of murder. Officials believe the 7-month-old is dead and his reported kidnapping did not happen. Emmanuel was first reported missing August 14th. His mother, Rebecca, told investigators she was attacked at the Big Five in Yucaipa and someone took her baby. After deputies confronted her about inconsistencies in the story, both parents stopped cooperating with investigators. According to law enforcement, Jake was convicted in 2021 for cruelty to a child and in 2024 for being a felon in possession of a handgun. Jake's car was also recently seized by law enforcement. Castillo expects law enforcement to be back in the same search area tomorrow to thoroughly scour the area to ensure they didn't miss anything.
Give him a decency of a funeral or a resting place for him, because no child should ever endure something like this. So my heart goes out to Emmanuel and everybody impacted by this.
Okay, so is it, as a lot of people have said, that Jake Haro has confessed and he's explained to cops where he hid the body? Now, look, if baby Emmanuel had just been dumped in a field, it's not just the hot weather that is the problem here. I mean, it's very, very hot in that area at the moment. It's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit on a daily basis. That will contribute to the quickness of decomp. And if there's trauma, even if there's only skeletonized remains, if there's trauma to that body that's deeper than just soft tissue trauma, then the body will tell the story. However, it's not just the hot weather. There's also animals. If baby Emmanuel has just been left out in the open, then his body, sadly, will have been scavenged. There's a whole host of critters out there that would take a body and devour it. It's horrific to us, but that's just nature. It's meat to them. If he's been buried, it's a slightly different story. Yes, if the grave's very shallow, then, you know, coyotes, wild dogs, etc. will dig up the body. They'll be able to smell it and dig up the body. But if it's buried deep enough, then no, the body's still going to be there. And if an animal had dug it up, then there would be an open hole. You know, animals don't routinely backfill the holes that they dig. I know this very well from dogs digging up my garden. SF Investigates responded and apologised for releasing inaccurate information. I tweeted incorrect information in the Emmanuel Haro case that I heard from someone that I'd worked with in the past. So he'd said that San Bernardino Search and Rescue discovered him. So I don't know what went wrong there. Was it misunderstanding or something? This information appears to be incorrect. I sincerely apologise. I will stick to only publishing my own information. I take full responsibility for that mistake in judgment. But then he said something really interesting. The information I tweeted was wrong. I'm not backtracking from that. But the situation still doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to any of us. Jake knows it doesn't benefit him one bit to give fake information. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. I put a YouTube short out and I heard this news saying, look, he's just trying to punk everyone for the second time. You know, the lies about the kidnap were just senseless, obviously untrue. But is he that stupid that he tried to punk the cops for a second time? Why? What would benefit him? Nothing. But sometimes criminals are just dumb. He knows he's done for. Why not give the cops the runaround? Doesn't look good for him, but none of this is looking good at all, is it? So he's kind of got nothing to lose if he's that kind of guy. But for them to take him out of custody, for that amount of cops, for that amount of manpower to be used in that particular location, there has to have been some kind of information from someone that the cops believe know what happened. And the fact that they took Jake rather than Rebecca tells me that it's Jake that's talking. So SF continues. They took him to a location while in custody, called out SAR and canine teams to a very large area and stood down long before dark after what was not a long search. I have read elsewhere he confessed, but would today's events indicate he wasn't involved in getting rid of the body and was only told the location by Rebecca or a possible other party that has knowledge? If Rebecca isn't talking and Jake wasn't actually there when the body was dumped, that would make sense that Jake only has second-hand or even third-hand information and that someone else... Look, I can't see Jake or Rebecca digging a hole in the heat. Whoever's taken him there has, I think, just dumped him, probably knowing that his body wouldn't last very long. I really, really hope they find him so he can be laid to rest with dignity. The thought of a little baby's body being scavenged by animals, however nature takes its course, and I'm not squeamish in that regard, I know exactly how nature takes its course. But for people that love Emmanuel, for people who've been touched by this horrible case, that closure, I think, is needed. And baby Emmanuel needs to be laid to rest. So, you know, they say that they're not going to stop until they find his body. And while they've got 2 people in custody for an alleged murder, I think they probably will continue to hunt for his body for as long as it's, you know, feasible. So maybe more news will come out today. Let's see. All right, guys. It's very sad. Incredibly sad story. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Hello. Noodle! Good boy, Noodle. Good girl. Noodle. Good boy. Good boy.